Hello, my name is Matthew Jones. I'm an instructor at the Body Therapy Institute. I'm here to give you a little introduction to lymphatic drainage. With the way I do lymphatic drainage, it integrates the concepts used in conventional medicine with the compression socks and compression sleeves. The idea is that the lymphatic system moves with two ways, either muscular movement with joint movement and with compression. The reason why we'll often use light touch when doing lymphatic drainage is that when we compress with deeper pressure, we move the lymph and the blood. And when the lymphatic system's already overloaded, it's important to only move the lymph so you can slowly detoxify the system and allow the body to gently heal without overloading the system. First things most important is finding the areas where the lymph drains and opening those first. So we have several primary drains. The first being the abdomen. So we always will start with encouraging the health and movement of the large intestine. Down here at the Houston valve and the sigmoid colon, we're letting that lymph gently drain. This is a soft, gentle pressure, and slowly moving my way along the bowel. As the lymphatic vessels pass through the pelvis, they collect and gather here in the abdomen, collecting towards the hiatus through the diaphragm. And as it does, it passes through a large amount of lymph nodes. This is one of the primary areas where the lymph is cleaned and purified, and any toxic lymph will be dumped into the bowels if while passing through the abdomen. Otherwise, it's going to continue up and enter into the body, back into the bloodstream here at the subclavian veins, at the clavicles. So this is one of our other primary area of concern, is we want to get this final place of the drain open. So one of the things I often look at is how is the posture and structure contributing to the lack of lymph movement. So first, I want to open up these shoulders, allow for more space in the clavicles so that more blood and lymph can pass through. It's kind of like a hose getting kinked. This is a place where the hoses of the vessels, the blood and lymph, get kinked and don't allow enough flow or movement. So I gently come and roll and press, opening up and encouraging the movement of lymph back into the blood. And this leads from the clavicle, leads to the drain and opening for the arms here at the axillary, the armpit. So before I start to do the gentler techniques, I'm going to come in and I'm going to do a little compress, rock, and roll to milk that lymph up to the clavicle, slowly working towards that drain. From all the vessels and nodes here in the brachial plexus, compress and roll that lymph up. It's very important when doing lymphatic drainage that the more occluded their lymph is, the more lymphedema, swelling you see, the less pressure and the less intense your treatment is. I'm working with a fairly healthy client right now, so I'm able to do a little bit deeper compressions to allow for more movement of the lymph and also to allow some of that blood to pump through and drain toxins in the blood into the lymph. So there's more lymph for me to move, more stickiness and toxins and metabolites in the lymph. Now I'm coming and pumping the inguinal groove. This is the place where all the lymph drains from the legs. And as I continue it through the inguinal groove, I'm going to finish by stirring it through the belly. We have a variety of techniques we'll work with. Not only do we have the pumping milking, but we have this gentle drawing of the lymph where we kind of drag the lymph, just creating a little bit of pull on the skin and drawing that lymph down the throat, draining back into the blood. Sometimes people say, well, the lymph is where the toxins, if it's like the sewage system, the recycling centers of the body, why would you want to encourage the movement of the lymph back into the blood, into the heart? The reason is, as it's moving, it's passing through these lymph nodes, all of these waste processing centers, recycling centers that break down the toxins and metabolites, gather and utilize their useful parts like the proteins, amino acids, and then allow the toxins to be excreted through the kidneys or the bowels or the skin. Often the body goes for whatever drains the closest. And now we have several circular patterns. So what we want to do is we've got 3 lines along the neck we want to work, starting towards the drain, and I'm going to do a little half circles, drag and pull and drain that lymph into the throat, into the subclavian vein. And I take a V stroke using the V of my thumb and pointer finger and gently pressing in and completing that drain all the way through. It's like I'm following a wave of the lymph. It moves like a semi-viscous liquid. Let that pour all the way into the blood. As we do this work, we have a lot of different things we can work with, but primarily we're working with lymphedema. So people who want to reduce swelling and hardening of the tissue due to overload of the lymph. And again, it's very important to remember that the more overloaded the lymph, the more gentle the work you do.